The thing that I do want to make sure that we're really clear about, because there are so many people, I mean, this whole topic of parental estrangement is everywhere. Like people are, it's just like the buzz and the topic. And in a previous conversation that you and I had, um, I think I mentioned that I think this whole idea of parental estrangement or estrangement from adult children needs to be reconsidered, because estrangement is permanent. Estrangement is you're done. I'm cutting you off. I'm never speaking to you again. Strain is different, because I believe that parental strain, or strain with an adult child, means that there's a way forward. We're strained. We don't know how to get forward quite yet, but there is a path forward. So I think that some of the languaging that we're using today is very dramatic and not helpful, because this idea that maybe a 20-year-old has, or someone in their early 20s, that, that's it, I'm leaving forever. It's not real. It's not going to happen eventually. I know that there are cases where maybe that is the case and it has to happen, but I don't have the percentages, but I would bet that 95% of the time, that's just not true. Maybe it's a year, maybe it's 2 years, maybe it's 5 years,
Yeah. In your early 20s, especially where your peak identity formation, it's like I'm finding out who I am outside of my family, outside of my upbringing. So it's actually normal to want to distance yourself a little bit as you're navigating life. The problem that's happening is we're in a society, and you said it, we have labels and diagnoses for everything now that is actually feeding more of the victimhood mentality more than ever. And I think that's a big problem, because what's happening is everybody has unprocessed pain. Everyone has childhood wounds. And you said it, we're not talking about real cases of abuse and issues. But when it becomes so normalized for just normal family dysfunction, you're given this therapy and this clinical language before you actually have the emotional understanding. And now when someone makes sense of your pain, even if it's not the truth, they make sense of it, you hold on to that story. And so that's what's happening. It's like you are going through 20, 21, maybe 18, because I feel like it's getting younger and younger, 18, 19, 20 years old. You're stepping into identity formation. Who am I? You've got social media that's adding an incredible amount of pressure while you haven't resolved these wounds that you've gone through because you built a certain identity based on what happened to you as a child, even if it's normal childhood things. And then you're seeing 10 reasons that your mom was toxic, 5 reasons why you had, a narcissistic mom. This is being fed to you when it might not actually be true. And so this is what I think is feeding the phenomenon that we're seeing right now in this victimhood mentality, and why it's making estrangement so normalized, when the reality is you've gone through hardships that you have to be able to work through. That's actually necessary because it's a part of your story and what's going to shape you into becoming the person that you're meant to be, and not to stay in that victim mentality. But they're not given those necessary tools. And so that's what I think is really happening right now, and why we're seeing it more and more. Because you're right, it might even be a strained relationship, but to be honest with you, it might not even be a strained relationship. It just might be something that your parent never learned how to properly articulate their needs. And so that came off as aggressive. And you as a child didn't know how to communicate your needs. So it came off as defensive. And that created conflict in the communication that was happening and created resentment. So it's not even that it's a strained relationship. It's that nobody taught you how to communicate effectively to truly tell you your needs. We're taught how to say what we don't want. We're taught how to defend ourselves. We're taught how to just sit quiet and listen to authority. But where are we ever really taught to say, I feel sad, or I need you to just hear me without defending yourself? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, no one is ever teaching those things. And that's why not just parent-child relationships, marriages are falling apart, relationships more than ever, because people are building that resentment instead of learning how to actually communicate and express themselves in a way that the other person understands, not in a way that's defending yourself.
Yeah, I think that we absolutely live in a society that has perfected the art of talking about what we don't want, and then when you turn that question around and say, "Okay, great, what do you want?" People, and it happens all the time, and people
You're
are
right.
like, I don't really know. I don't really know what I want," and I think that that is part and parcel of what's happening.